30 years ago, strange metal airships appeared in our skies.
Edge of Eternity seems to be a video game that was created by combining aspects from MMOs and JRPGs. The makers may have started off in one route but then changed their minds or forgot to finish what they had started. It exudes passion, but until you discover that only 4 devs created Midgar Studio, things do not make sense. Is Edge of Eternity deserving of the more than 6 years that were devoted to its creation? Edge of Eternity is not a complete game, but rather more of a passionate fan project. The game, which was created by a 13-person development team, plays like a love letter from an ADHD-afflicted Final Fantasy and MMO fan. After a lengthy and mysterious break, you are thrust into a prologue that functions as a beta before beginning the actual game. It provides you a mount in the first 30 minutes that is left behind after another 10 to 15 minutes, only for the mechanism to revive a few hours later. The list of instances may go on. It appears as though the game was created using a blueprint created by JRPG lovers who wanted to combine the greatest features of their favorite games without considering whether they would work together. The globe is in the bizarre fantasy and science fiction world of Harrion, extraterrestrial technology and antiquated dark magic clash. The characters' motivations make them a mixed bag of cats rather than upholders of right or wrong, adding to the ambiguity. The tutorial teaches you the fundamentals of the game by killing off your friends before you have a chance to grow attached to them. Our hero, Darion, risks being court-martialed by foregoing his military obligations in order to visit his mother who is battling the disease one last time after discovering more about decay, a deadly biological weapon. The former soldier sets out on a quest to find a cure for the decay and unveil his inner anguish with the readiness and eloquence of Dirty Harry, teaming up with her sister, Celine. Like in JRPGs, the adventure will take our heroes to several locations where they will encounter more or less colorful personalities and assist the locals with both significant and minor jobs. You may expect a 40 to 50-hour journey filled with gameplay and story gaps that aren't explained, as well as influences from vintage PS2 games. With the turn-based combat system, the endless farming, the needlessly complicated skill and evolution system, the crystals that can grant you magical abilities, and even the cats that serve as hairy stand-ins for the well-known chocobos, you will feel right at home if you have ever played older Final Fantasy, Xenoblade, or Dragon Quest games. The Edge of Eternity is somewhat reminiscent of a market flooded with knockoffs of well-known brands. Every aspect of the game is plagiarized, every character is a bad imitation of a stereotype. And the lack of expertise is frequently glaringly apparent. Many of the side quests are filler, some game mechanics are introduced momentarily before being removed and then returned later, and the puzzles stick out from the other gameplay elements like giraffes in tall grass. Edge of Eternity, though, is really lovable and has the vibe of being created by the largest JRPG aficionados. It is an independent game made by a small team, and even though there are some issues with it, it is a finished product that was largely fixed before release. While certain flaws still remain, the game-breaking bugs have been fixed. Additionally, if we were to discuss the game's technical aspects, we would have to mention that the frame rate is not quite stable and that the game's loading times are pretty lengthy. Additionally, several of the characters only appear decent and finished up close. Particularly, the faces might use some work. On the other side, the game's soundtrack and landscapes can both be truly amazing. Overall, the console version might have benefited greatly from some further refinement, especially when we consider all the comments the developers received after the PC version was released. Edge of Eternity is dripping with the energy and passion of its creators. The combat system is fun and the exploring is generally enjoyable, but the lack of attention on the gameplay features and the uninteresting plot finally render it unremarkable. It is a significant accomplishment for a tiny team, but I cannot heartily endorse the game. If you enjoy JRPGs, you have likely already experienced everything that this game has to offer in other settings with better implementation. Although Edge of Eternity has a ton of content, it seems like it came out at least a decade too late.